Well, every single week we have guests that are in the know, interesting guests, and the best guests here on the Fight Guys with Eric Apple. And this week is no exception because, man, we have someone who knows a lot about this sport and has been there since the inception. Larry Landless, welcome to the show, brother.
Hey, right on. How you doing?
I'm doing great, brother. I appreciate you doing this with us. I'm excited to have you on because there's all kinds of stuff we can talk about. I can ask you all kinds of questions about, combat sports, both past and present. I know you're also involved in some wrestling programs these days as well. I mean, what is your involvement with combat sports right now?
Well, right now I took a little step back from the combat and to focus on the wrestling and my health. So, I have cancer and I've been battling it for the last couple of years.
Yep.
I really, I started off in wrestling and my school was not doing too well. And
that's
all
Mark
these
Keppel?
Years I've been away. Yeah. Mark Keppel High School.
And I think I told you, my dad wrestled there.
What year?
Oh, I don't know. He must have graduated like 1970 or something, I guess.
Oh my goodness. He'd have to know Coach Thompson.
Probably. I'll ask my dad if that was a coach.
Marshall Thompson was probably on the team with them.
That's cool. Yeah, I'll ask him.
Wow, that's great. I'd love to connect with them.
That's funny. Yeah. So go on.
So I just decided, things were going so well over at Bishop Vermont. They didn't really need me. And Mark Keppel, I think they needed me. So I went back and, I have to be an assistant coach or volunteer coach until December because I just retired from the school district. And if you know what the CalPERS does, they make you sit it out for 6 months.
Understood.
And I thought I could still volunteer, and it is just a big misunderstanding. So I'll be helping out with the team until then, and then come February when the season's over, I'll get my head coaching job back and tally ho.
That's awesome. That's awesome to hear that you're still contributing and helping the youth, the sport, helping wrestling. I have a 3.5-year-old son, and he just had his first wrestling practice the other day here at Calvary Chapel. So we're excited for sure.
Okay, yeah, that's a good. Is it Thunder or Calvary Chapel, the program?
It's Calvary Chapel, and the kids program is called Church Boys.
Oh, church. Oh, yeah, they're Church Boys. Okay, because my friend used to coach there, but now he's with Thunder, so I don't know what the connection was with them.
Yeah. So tell us, are you still paying attention to MMA, UFC? Do you watch it all? I mean, you were such an integral part of the sport for so many years.
Well, I watch to support, Herb Dean. I think he's the best ref out there, and everything that's going on with him. I watch fights. I don't get to catch them all, but these kids from Dagestan, holy cow, man, they're amazing.
Now, you might be the perfect guest to talk about it. Can you talk to me about the difference between American style, say freestyle wrestling, and the folk style wrestling that the Dagestanis do?
Well, we're folk style. They're freestyle.
Sorry.
The folk style is in America. That's the American version, which you see in the NCAAs and you see in the high schools. The freestyle is a lot of reward for throwing. So the higher you throw somebody, the more reward you get. So there's a lot of reward for exposing someone's back and throwing them. So in freestyle, in collegiate style or folk style, you got to kind of hold them with some control. In freestyle, you just have to roll through and you get points, 2 points.
Understood.
Just expose their back.
And can you give people an idea of why are the Dagestanis so successful? Is it because do they simply have better coaching? Better technique? Is it because just the culture, there's really not that much else going on, so this is something everyone is very focused on, or is it a combination of everything?
Well, they're great in wrestling. The Russians have always been great in wrestling, the Eastern Bloc countries from back in the day, because they spend all their time doing it year round. Where here in America, a lot of most of the kids were going just season to season, and freestyle isn't recognized as a international style. So the rules are different. And the way you train, like certain throws in freestyle and Greco-Roman, are illegal in collegiate style or folk style wrestling.
Understood.
Yeah.
So, do you miss your time as a ref? I mean, man, I remember the old King of the Cage days in the 2000s when I first started commentating for King of the Cage, and I felt like I saw you every single month, and you just dropped out. I mean, can you tell people, what led to you pulling the plug on refereeing?
Well, I was still reffing. A lot of people don't realize, but in California, especially Southern California, I'd been reffing a lot of the amateur shows, which by my choice, and by my non-choice, I wasn't getting a lot of calls for the professional shows throughout the state or out of the state. I had a good gig going in Hawaii for a couple of years with Rumble on the Rock, and I had a good gig going for the Guam show, the PXC.
Mm-hmm.
There was good things going back then, but as time goes on, they start to use their own referees, and I'm not one of those guys that really markets himself and push for things, so I just kind of was happy doing the local shows, and it was time for me to get back into coaching and wrestling and all that. My health was a major concern. I've been battling this for 8 years.
I didn't know it'd been that long.
That's 8 years. 8 years since I've been diagnosed. Well, since my surgery, actually. In fact, after my surgery, a couple weeks after, I was diagnosed with an infection from the surgery that pretty much almost killed me. I had to spend 3.5 weeks in the hospital draining an infection out of my body that I just waited too long, and it was just cooking me from the inside out. And I know I was being stubborn or something, but
You had a
I
bad staph
remember
infection?
kind of it was inside my body.
Yeah.
And it was from the surgery. The surgery was a 3.5 hour surgery, but my surgery took 7.5 hours because one of the robotic arms that removed the prostate, they had to fix it. It wasn't working properly, and they had to keep me under.
Oh, wow.
And this was at UCLA of all places. So they do a thing called Da Vinci. He does it like a video game. So he's in another room, and these arms weren't working properly. So he pulled them out and called for a fix-it, and the guy came in and fixed it. Probably smoked a cigar while he was doing it. I don't know. But he fixed it, put some W240 on it, and they went back in and removed the prostate. And 2.5 weeks later, I have this severe infection. And, I woke up at like 5 o'clock in the morning on the floor. I was kind of sleeping, sitting up on the couch, and I just slid onto the floor. I didn't even know. And I had no strength to pull myself back up. And good thing I had my phone. I called 911. I spent 3.5 weeks in the hospital. It was brutal.
Can you give everyone an update on kind of where you're at now, if you want?
Well, sure. It came back a year later, so I took radiation, and it looks like I've been doing all right with it for the last few years. It's been, I've had good numbers. Then I got a little cocky, and I went 10 months between checking. I shouldn't go more than, I was going 3 months, and then I got cocky. I started going 6 because that's what they required. And then I had gone 10, and they called me and they said, "Hey, you got to come get checked." And then I got checked, and I'm like, "Oh no, next year I know I'm at the City of Hope getting treatment." So it's been a year I've been taking this medication, and I had to deal with the side effects and stuff. And I kind of backed off the medication because I thought things were going good just a little over a month ago. And unfortunately, the numbers went up. So now my doctor doubled the numbers. So instead of getting off it like I thought I was, it looks like I'm going to have to double up on it until we get these numbers under control.
Well, it sounds like you're on top of it as far as paying attention these days. So hopefully that gets it under control and moves things forward, and you start feeling better.
Yeah.
Let me ask you, Larry, Do you miss the days of refereeing the big fights? I mean, you ref some of the biggest fights in the world back then. Can you
Yeah,
tell me
I do.
what you miss or any big matchups that you have memories of, like things that stick out? Because you were there for the big ones.
Yeah. Well, I always loved how BJ Penn's family always took care of me in Hawaii. I mean, I would go and I was treated like a king there, and I got to ref BJ versus Rodrigo
Go.
Gracie and BJ versus Gomi,
That's awesome.
and then I got BJ versus Henzo Gracie in that K1 fight at the Loa Bowl,
That's so cool.
and that was a highlight. Yeah, that was a technical fight, and the K1 guys were a little mad at me because they wanted me to keep standing it up, but both camps wanted me to let it go. So I had to make a choice and, keep it an honest MMA or turn it into a kickboxing match.
Yeah. Tell me,
You know,
what fighters these days pique your interest? Like who do you like to watch, or who do you specifically tune in for?
well, a lot of people probably won't agree with me, but anytime John Jones is on a fight, the guy's just incredible. And I really hope he figures things out and gets busy before his time runs out. Of course, I love watching Conor McGregor. He's very entertaining. The Diaz brothers, but these Dagestan guys, man, holy cow! Sometimes,
Well,
I can't even pronounce half their names, and I just love watching them.
well, Islam. Speaking of Dagestanis, Islam
Islam.
Makhachev is going to fight this weekend against Jack Della Maddalena. He's moving up in weight. Do you have any thoughts on that fight?
I don't vote against. I don't no longer place bets against anybody that's not Dagestan. So if I have to put money on it, if the guy's from Dagestan, I'm just gonna just take it as a yeah. He's gonna
Well,
win somehow.
I mean, one bit of information that I kind of think about is if you remember, Volk moved up in weight and he had
Yeah.
that really close decision the first time Volkanovski fought Islam, and that's a 145er. So that's the only thing that tells me that Islam might have trouble with a true 170 pounder. I mean, Jack is not giant for a welterweight, but he is a welterweight. So I think it might make a little bit of difference if Islam had that much of a trouble with Volk. But like you said, it's hard to bet against the Dagestanis, isn't it?
Well, sometimes like when I wrestled in high school and college, I always wrestled up a weight because I seemed like I did better against those guys than the guys that were my weight. And if you look back when BJ Penn fought Matt Hughes, nobody gave him a chance. And, the first time they fought, and BJ was, not only did he handle the weight well, he dominated and he won. And, sometimes when you're hydrated, you could take more punches. I'm being honest, because hydration has to do with water in
Your
the brain. Yeah, there's less movement in there.
For sure.
So the receptors aren't being torn. So if the guy's better hydrated, if the guy was always making hard cuts, well then, it's not his chin, his brain's rattling around. Whereas if he goes up a weight class and he does it right, and, usually one weight class doesn't make a difference because chances are they're walking around close to that weight anyways.
Yeah. I want to change gears and ask you one question, and you don't, if you're not comfortable with it, you don't have to answer. But there's been a pretty serious. I wouldn't say pretty serious, but it's gotten a lot of attention. This betting scandal in the last week and a half. When you were around the UFC, did you ever hear anybody talk or make offers like that at all? Because I'm of the opinion that this is not a very common thing. This is a one-off thing.
Absolutely not. There's no way I would ever participate in something like that, or I would allow. I've been the head ref at a lot of the shows that, other than the UFC, I wouldn't stand for it. I wouldn't stand for it because I got to pick the guys that work with me, and this is something. If you get a temporary bump in salary for somehow, or somebody pays you off, it's nothing compared to what the sport loses.
Yeah,
in the
of
long
course.
run, we all lose huge.
The question I have, Larry, is Do you think this is like a one-off situation, which I do? I don't think this happens very often. I think this is just a one-time thing.
I'm still trying to put my finger on it, you know, because names have come up and I've thought about it. A lot of people put Dana White's name on it. It doesn't make sense to me because Dana has done so much for the sport. And if anything, when they were hurting back in the days, that would have been the opportunity to fix things and get money rolling in his direction. He let things go. He put together fights where there was some major upsets.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you know, I don't see it on that level. If it's happening, someone mentioned a referee, and I know that referee, and I know this referee pretty good. I would be very
yeah, I talked about it last week.
I would be very
with
shocked.
Pac-Man Joe's. Jason Herzog is a very honorable guy, and I think it's insulting for anybody to say that he is stopping fights early or letting them go long so that he can make the over/under.
I've never had anybody, you know, there's been smaller shows where they begged us, hey, let the fights go. And I've always gone against that. And I think I made some enemies with some other promoters.
Your number one job is our safety. When I'm fighting, you're the one who's supposed to make sure I'm safe. That's all. That's the number one priority, right?
Yeah, and you know, people will get mad. One half gets mad, the other half. But you know, there's times where, I mean, look at Herb when he saved Tim Sylvia from that when Frank Mir broke his arm.
Yep.
He wanted a fight and he was ready to continue. His corner was upset that he wasn't allowed to continue. And that thing, and then, you know, Tim, to his credit, eventually told Herb, you know, thank you. But at the moment, you know, they want to fight. They're tough guys. There's a lot riding on it. But we got to save them from their own ego.
Well, you know, fighters, we're not the smartest people in the world. We need guys like you watching out for us.
Yeah. And, you know, no one ever goes in, you know, a guy like Jason, a guy like Herb, or anybody else. We don't go in and say, hey, how can I screw this up? How can I, you know, we go in with the right intentions. 90% of the people I know in this business, they go in with the right intentions. If they called it a little early, you know, we're spoken to. And if they called it too late, you're definitely spoken to.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, you could be sat down for that.
Yeah, understood. Are you content with the direction that, like, say, the California State Athletic Commission has gone? I mean, we're noticing more and more fighters who are judging and refereeing, Frank Trigg, Chris Lieben, and so on.
I worked with both those guys on amateur shows, camel shows, and Frank Trigg is a learning machine. He is, you know, he's on top of things. And when I see him ref now, his ego's not involved in the reffing thing. So I think it was the right choice to bring him aboard. As far as Chris Lieben's concerned, Chris Lieben was the total polar opposite of what you saw on the Ultimate Fighter show. He came in, he was always professional, easy to work with. If I spoke to him, he would almost apologetically thank me, and I grow to really love Chris. I mean, he's just got the, you know, he's done a great job, and I'm so happy and proud to see him move on. And you know, everyone, I've been to Indian casinos where they've gotten guys out of the crowd. Oh, he's a fighter, and he's a fighter, and they screwed up their cards. I've done shows in other countries and other states, and like, oh, this guy fought, and this guy used to fight. Well, that doesn't mean they know how to ref or judge.
Yeah, it's two different things.
And, I had a guy, and I did a show in Minnesota, and this guy, they pulled out of the audience, this cocky and hell guy, he was trying to get into the UFC, never made it. He had a beer right there, and he was smoking, and I was like, dude, what are you doing? You know, I'm in the ring. I'm like, you know, put that away. You can't wait till after he thought it was cool or something.
This is a fighter or a guy who's reffing and judging?
He's judging.
Oh.
And he's sitting. Oh, Eric, how are you going to feel if you're in a tight fight, and he's talking
drinking
to some fucking chick right here, drinking a beer and looking around. He's posing with pictures and writing an autograph and doing selfies. And I just
wild.
I told the promoter, get rid of him. Get rid of him.
It was the Wild West days, remember?
I need guys that are gonna make the right decision, because I'm gonna hold that hand up and I'm the bad guy.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm not in on the decision.
They're gonna throw stuff at you.
At me, yeah. I'm just waiting for the decision. Where they say red or blue, boom, that's the hand that goes up.
Yeah. Well, listen, Larry, we're at 20 minutes and we're going to wrap it up. I want you to know that I'm here with you, thinking about you and your fight against cancer. Everybody wants you to get better. You look great.
Thank you, bro.
We're happy to have you on and share some old stories. And maybe we'll have you back on in a couple months if that's okay with you.
That's okay. Let me give you a quick view of what's behind me, man, so your audience can see.
All right.
My friends.
You got the Rose Bowl back there, right? That's awesome.
You see?
I do.
Yeah, this is amazing. I love her house, and I just happened to be in the neighborhood when you called me. So this is where we did, right above the Rose Bowl.
All right. Well, we appreciate you very much, everyone. Thanks for checking us out here on The Fight Guys. I'm Eric Apple. We'll be back next week with another awesome guest, just like Mr. Larry Landless.